Holy shit. We just got some massive news regarding Hytale, which, for those of you who do not know, Hytale is a game that took inspiration from Minecraft. In fact, the developers of the game created the biggest Minecraft server in Minecraft history, which is called Hypixel. And Hytale has undergone quite a bit of a roller coaster, to say the least. Is I guess that's the greatest way to put it. And well, yesterday, as it says, November 17th, 2025, Hytale was just bought back by Simon, and they have a small dev team working on the game. And I think this is insane, absolutely insane. This is probably one of the craziest moments in gaming history that I think needs to get a lot more recognition. Hytale is a game that was meant to be a sandbox open world game, much like Minecraft in that aspect, where you could build whatever you wanted, and you have the creative freedom and the only limit was your imagination. A new exciting chapter for Hytale begins today. We are thrilled to announce that we have acquired Hytale from Riot Games. While it didn't make sense for them to continue developing it in its existing form, they ultimately wanted what's best for players. And that's for us to eventually play a revised version of the game. We are grateful to Riot Games for making this possible. Over the past few weeks, we have rehired more than 30 developers who knew this game inside out. With additional returns expected in the coming days, together, we are going back to the original vision for Hytale. We are fully independent and personally committed to funding the game for the next 10 years. Transactions like this are rare in the games industry. Thank you for everyone for keeping hope alive. Hytale is saved. Simon, founder of Hypixel. And like I said, Simon, right here, put his money where his mouth was and actually bought the game with the intent and goal to bring it back from the dead. Because it was pretty much, it was in a dead state, and it was hopeless that we were ever going to get it. And one thing I absolutely love and respect about the man is he was very active on X and very much talking to people who were excited for the game, and answering as much questions as possible, and in any way he could without violating any legal statutes and violating any NDAs that he might have had to sign and thing. And well, it's happened. Hytale's actually coming out. And for those of you who say, "Oh, don't get your hopes up, man. Don't get your hopes up. The game still might not come out." And I'm like, "Well, that's where you're wrong." You know why I say that's where you're wrong? Because Simon specifically emphasized one thing: get the game out as soon as possible, even if it's in a broken state, so that players can get their hands on it, report bugs, and report all the issues, so that the dev team behind the game could easily fix it. And he has clearly announced that it will be coming out before GTA 6. I love that. And right here, TLDR, early access date to be announced in the coming days. So it could be announced today. If it's not already announced today, it could be announced tomorrow or sometime by the end of this week or next week. And this is genuinely huge. I'm actually excited for this. And again, this feels surreal. I was 16 years old when this game was announced. I am now 23, gonna be 24 pretty soon. This is insane to me. Genuinely, I don't think this has ever happened. And keep in mind, guys, this was an indie game that went from indie to AAA, back to indie, and now we're getting it. And of course, it says Windows at launch, Linux and Macs will be attempted, and other platforms like probably consoles much later. Pricing, and of course, it will be cost something, and that's how this game will survive. It is through pricing, and I have no issue with that. Games that deserve prices should have prices. So games that don't deserve them don't. And of course, like it says, pricing will be announced in the coming days, likely alongside the early access launch date announcement. So I guarantee these two things will be coming in tandem together. Early access state, expect bugs, rough edges, unbalanced content, and frequent updates that break things. I'm glad that they're emphasizing this information because that is important for anyone to know. And honestly, if you like Minecraft, I feel like you'll love this game because it was made by people who have so much experience with Minecraft, who created the biggest Minecraft server and pushed Minecraft's engine to its absolute limits before they had to make their own game to do more stuff that they planned. Early access duration expected to last at least a few years. No rush to 1.0. Completely reasonable in my opinion. Completely reasonable. Launch date content, exploration mode, creative mode, and modding. Which for those you don't know, another thing, and I feel like I mentioned this. I already don't remember. My brain just running a million miles a minute. They are heavily embracing the modding community and modders. In fact, they're bringing modding tools to the game so that we gamers could add whatever we want to the game. And of course, what will not be at launch is mini games and adventure mode. Both will come later. There's a dedicated team for mini games. They have 100% ownership of Hytale, repurchased from Riot Games, and they have a 10-year personal funding commitment with no investors or publishers. I absolutely love that information. And the game build, so there's two engines. For those of you who don't know, I want to give context. There's two engines. The Legacy engine, which is what the announcement trailer was made on. And then there's the new engine that was everything was being ported over to this, and it kind of pushed Hytale back a couple years because they had to port everything from Legacy engine to this new engine, and it just delayed the whole thing. And honestly, in my opinion, it was completely unnecessary. I understand why they wanted to do it, and because there was limits to the engine. But I'm just saying, if there's limits to the engine, then you probably shouldn't have that in the game. But of course, they're pushing it back to the Legacy engine, and it's going to be in an early access state where there will be a lot of bugs and all that. And I'm perfectly fine with that. They're completely emphasizing how much how broken the game is likely going to be at launch. And like they said, it's going to come out before GTA 6. So I'm assuming probably around January or February. I don't think it's going to be December. Although if it is December 18th, I would love that. And for those who don't know, that was the launch. That was the announcement date for Hytale. Let me correct myself. It was December 10th. But anyway, the point was, this game is going to be broken. It's going to be buggy, but it's going to be a game meant to be fixed because of community feedback. And I think that's amazing. And it says here, on June 23rd, 2025, it was announced that the development of Hytale was ending and Hypixel Studios would wind down, which is disappointing because they were also winding down Minecraft's biggest server, which has still, to this day, has probably 40,000 people playing it. Compared to any other server, that's pretty freaking massive. And it's crazy. It is so crazy. When we saw the community's reaction, we knew we had to act. Although we hadn't been involved with Hytale since 2020, and its community has always been something we cherished. Hytale and its community have always been something we cherished. We made an offer to Riot Games without seeing the full state of the project, knowing the massive risks involved. We have dove in head first, no risk, no Hytale, which is a phrase I absolutely love. It's going to go down in gaming history. No risk, no Hytale, because they really risked it all. And it's just so crazy seeing all this. We negotiated the deal, rehired 30 developers, secured funding, and made the call to return to the Legacy engine and the original vision. We're focused on building the game we always wanted to play, one that we'd be proud for our kids to play too. Philippi and I are personally committing to funding for the next 10 years. This is our passion project, and we're here to make it last. Start small, growth with community, and I love that. I absolutely love that because they have a small dev team and all that. So I can't. I'm excited for this, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited. We expect our roadmap to evolve as we learn more about the game's needs and how players respond. It's already changing, and what we have today is different from what we had a few weeks ago. As we have been exploring the game, we'll keep it agile and flexible and try our best to avoid promises we can't keep. We're choosing to focus on making a great game first rather than a perfect engine. We know the risk of releasing an unfinished project. First impressions matter, and that's completely true. But I'm glad that they are heavily emphasizing on the fact that the game is meant to be released in early access state with the intent of getting community feedback so that they could make the game better. And of course, I think that's perfectly fine when it comes to dev game development for games. And it's hard to change minds, but this is a risk we must take. We need your help creating a content, reporting bugs, giving feedback, and building this with us. No risk, no Hytale. Our initial priority is polishing the living world, modding, core mechanics, and sandbox experience. Once the world feels alive and systems are stable, we'll shift hard into adventure mode and minigames development to create the true Hytale experience. And I think that's insane. That's a good goal to strive for. Is they're focusing on the core functions of the game and then working on adventure and mode and mini games. And for those of you who don't know, Hypixel has a lot of mini games. It has this is stuff that they coded in Minecraft with a bunch of hard work and dedication. They had survival games, which is Hunger Games, which honestly, the first kind of battle royale game, which to me is one of the best. But it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And then they got arcade. They've got murder mystery. They've got prop hunt in Minecraft. Which is really fun. Or is it called block hunt? Which, makes sense. Let's discuss openly what we've inherited and what we're working with. The biggest thing to note here is that there were two engines in development. The legacy engine that was quite advanced from 3 or 4 years ago. This is what was used in the trailer and most blog posts. And a cross-platform engine, C++, that's been in development for approximately 3 years. The cross-platform engine is significantly behind in terms of gameplay. It would require extensive refactoring to be production ready with minimal gameplay features. We estimate it would take 2 years before we consider early access with it. We've made a decision to abandon the cross-platform engine and return to the legacy engine. It's playable now. Let us build a game rather than an engine, and I completely respect that. It's the version that feels like what Hytale was supposed to be. As for the legacy engine, we have plans to make it cross-platform later. We are in no rush for that, and I find that completely reasonable and rational. In the game itself, we have over 100 NPCs, thousands of items and blocks, but many aren't properly configured yet. Expect unbalanced loot, rough edges, and bugs. This is genuine early access. Please report issues and give feedback. And this is great news. And of course, we got their team right here: Simon, Philippi, Kevin, and Patrick. And they've got 30 more people, which is crazy. There's so much to this game that I'm excited for, and the fact that they're fully embracing modding, which modding is once again a top priority. It has always been at the core of our vision, and it's critical to our long-term survival. We will launch early access with as many modding tools as much access as possible within legal and security constraints. Completely fair. What you can expect? It's possible to mod almost anything in Hytale, content and server side. Non-developers can create impressive experiences with minimal technical knowledge. A few guides or videos will be enough for most people to start creating. We will provide server source code within several months once we're legally ready to do so. Dedicated server support and data-driven content configuration. We're being mindful of backwards compatibility as we iterate. You can create your own custom servers, maps, adventures, etc. More details will be given in a future blog post. Modding isn't just a feature for us; it's a foundation of longevity. We're committing to this completely. We need your help to complete Hytale. Play early access even when it's rough. Report bugs, give honest feedback, create mods, content. Be patient when things break, and trust a long-term vision. Make guides and share knowledge with others. This is not a polished product. This is a raw, unfinished project. This is a raw, unfinished, sometimes broken experience with incredible potential. You'll find placeholder content, unbalanced systems, and frustrating bugs. You also find moments of magic, systems that click perfectly, and glimpses of what this could become. Early access is our way of earning your trust, not asking for it. And again, that's completely rational. I have, like I said, I've been excited for this game for 7 years. I've been watching it like a hawk for 7 years. And again, this is kind of surreal to me that it's actually happening. And of course, they announced that there is a Discord for Hytale, and it was just created, and you can click here to join it. And of course, I will be linking this in the article in the description below, because I want people to read this for themselves and break it down even further. I'm so excited, and right here, this is also exciting information coming in the next few days. Gameplay footage and screenshots, unpolished as is. Detailed patch notes from our recent work, modding capabilities, and a roadmap blog post. Pricing details for different editions, which means there's probably going to be a standard edition, a supporter edition, a Hytalian edition, whatever. There's going to be like, multiple editions where more support, more financial support, and all that stuff. And that's completely rational. Plenty of updates and communication in early access release date. And again, that is a big part. We have not had a release date for this game. We've had release windows for this game. Like, oh, it's going to release quarter something of this year. Maybe next year. Maybe sometime in the next year. And we've never had a set release date. So this is big information. So again, I'm excited for this. And of course, I absolutely love this art right here. Like, the thing I love about Hytale is the amount of blog posts that we've seen from of in-game concept arts and all that stuff. And right here we have the final thoughts. Hytale has had a long and challenging journey. It's taken longer than anyone hoped, and it's changed a lot along the way. But we are here starting over with a 4-year-old build, a small dedicated team, and a community that refused to give up, and a vision that's aligned with a new reality. This is not going to be easy, this is not going to be fast, and it's not going to be perfect. But it's going to be ours, built together, one feature at a time, one bug fix at a time, and one mod at a time. Hytale lives, thank you, from the entire Hytale team. And again, I am utterly baffled by this. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in gaming history, and I think this is huge information overall. And I'm genuinely so excited for this. Anyway, that's all I've got for this video. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, because I would love to see what people think about this. And I would love to see more eyes on this. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share on your preferred social media platform. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, and God bless.